Hello everyone, I hope you all guys are healthy and safe. Dear students, today we are going to discuss Unit 7 Physical Education of Class 12. Unit 7 is Physiology and Injuries in Sports. Before this video, I already prepared all the topics of Unit 6. If you haven't watched these videos, you can watch. I have given the link of these videos in the description. You can check. So today we are going to discuss Unit 7, which is Physiology and Injuries in Sports. In this topic, today you will know about the physiological factors determining components of physical fitness. So now let's know about it. Sports and exercise physiology in the study of the long and short term effect of training on physical conditions of athletes. Okay, this specialized field of knowledge goes hand in hand with human anatomy. Anatomy is about location and structure of our body, whereas physiology is about different bodily functions. Here you have to understood the anatomy is about the location and structure. We can say the study of location and structure, but whereas the physiology is about different bodily functions, means it is the study of body or body parts functions. Okay, next there are different physiological factors that determine the components of physical fitness, such as strength, speed, endurance, flexibility, etc. So in today's video, I am going to explain you one by one these all the physical fitness components like the strength, speed, endurance and flexibility. So now let's start. So the first is physiological factors determining strength. There are various physiological factors which determines strength of an individual, like size of the muscles, body weight, muscles composition, intensity of the nerve impulse. Okay, I am going to explain you these all the factors one by one. Now let's start with the first one. So the first is size of the muscles. Now let's know about it. The strength of the muscles depends upon the size of the muscles. It is a fact that bigger and larger muscles produce more force. The force produced by the same size of muscles in males and females is almost same, but males are found stronger as they have larger muscle in comparison to females. By getting help of different methods of strength training, such as weight training, its size of the muscles can be increased and strength improved. Therefore, the strength is determined by the size of muscles. So this is the first factor, size of the muscles. Now let's know about the second factor, which is body weight. Now let's know about it. Body weight. It is also a fact that the person who are heavier than generally stronger than individuals who are lighter. There is a positive relation between body weight and strength among international weightlifters. The heavier weightlifters can lift heavier weight, such as body weight also determines the strength of an individual. So this is all about body weight. Now let's know about the muscles composition. Now let's know what is it. Each muscle consists of primarily two types of muscles fibers. Number one, fast twitch fibers, which is also known as white fibers, and number two, slow twitch fibers, which is also known as red fibers. The fast twitch fibers can contract faster and so they can produce more force. On the other hand, the slow twitch fibers are unable to contract faster, although they are capable of contracting for a longer duration. The muscles having more percentage of fast twitch fibers is generally determined and cannot be altered through training. So it can be said that the percentage of these fibers also determines the strength of a person. Okay, so this is muscles composition. Now let's know about the intensity of the nerve impulse. What is it? A muscle contains a number of motor units. The total force of these muscles depends upon the number of contracting motor units. When a stronger nerve impulse from central nervous system provokes from number of motor units, the muscles will contract more strongly and the muscles will produce more force or strength. Hence, the intensity of the nerve impulse also reflect the almost of strength. So these are the physiological factor of determining strength of an individual. Now let's know next the physiological factors determining speed. The next components of the physical fitness is speed. Okay, now I am going to tell you about the physiological factors determining the speed. So these factors are: first is mobility of the nervous system, second is muscles composition, third is explosive strength, number 4 is flexibility, number 5 is biochemical reserve and metabolic power. Now I will explain you these all one by one. So the first is mobility of the nervous system. Now let's know about it. Body muscles contract and relax at the maximum possible speed in the case of sprinting events. This rapid contraction and relaxation of muscles become possible by fast excitation and inhibition of the concerned motor centers. This is known as the mobility of the nervous system. The nervous system can maintain this fast excitation and inhibition only for a few seconds, and after that the excitation spreads to the neighboring centers, giving rest, tension in the entire body. This results is reducing of speed. The mobility of the nervous system can be trained but to a limit extent. In fact, speed is determined largely by genetic factors. So this is all about mobility of the nervous system. Now let's know about the muscles composition. Muscles with more percentage of fast twitch fibers contract with greater speed in comparison to muscles with lower percentage of fast twitch fibers. In fact, the muscles composition is genetically determined and cannot be altered by training. Various muscles of the body have different percentage of fast twitch fibers. So, different body parts have different speed performances. Okay, now let's know about the explosive strength. What is it? For any quick and explosive movement, explosive strength is must. For example, a quick punch of boxing cannot be delivered if there is no explosive strength. Explosive strength is lacking further depends on muscles composition, muscle size and the muscles coordination. Explosive strength also depend on the metabolic process. Other than muscles composition, the remaining factors can be improved with proper training, which in turn can improve the speed to a limited extent. The relative proportion of fast twitch fibers and slow twitch fibers determines to a greater extent the maximum possible speed through which a muscle can contract. So this is all about explosive strength. Now let's know about the next factor, which is flexibility. What is it? Flexibility determines the speed to a certain extent. Good flexibility allows maximum movement without much internal resistance. Flexibility also allows complete utilization of explosive strength. So this is all about flexibility. Now let's know the next point, biochemical reserve and metabolic power. What is it? For optimum speed performance, muscles requires large amount of energy at the very high rate of consumption. For this, the phosphagen, adenosine triphosphate and certain phosphate stored in the muscles should be sufficient. If ATP and CP stores in low in contraction muscles, the muscles contraction due to inadequate energy supply is become slow after short time. The energy supply also depends upon certain enzymes which can increase the metabolic power. The amount of ATP, CP and rate of energy supply can be increased by training. Hence, it can be said that the metabolic reserve and metabolic power determine the speed. So, this is all about the physiological factors determining speed. Physiological factors determining endurance. Now, let's know about these all. So, the first is aerobic capacity. Number 2 is lactic acid tolerance. Number 3 is movement economy. Number 4 is muscles composition. Now I am going to explain you these all one by one. So the first is aerobic capacity. Now let's know about it. For performing an activity continuously, sufficient energy is required by the muscles which can be utilized from the presence of oxygen. Therefore, the ability of organisms to maintain adequate supply of oxygen to the working muscles, because energy liberation is most important for endurance performance. The aerobic capacity depends on oxygen intake, oxygen transport, oxygen uptake and energy reverses. So this is all about the aerobic capacity. Now let's know about the lactic acid tolerance. What is it? The capacity to tolerate higher concentration of lactic acid is an important factor in determining aerobic capacity. The lactic acid tolerance is significant for activities that last for more than 40 seconds more. The lactic acid tolerance capacity can be enhanced through training. Therefore, it is helpful in improving endurance performance. So, this is the factor of this determining endurance, lactic acid tolerance. Now, let's know about the next, movement economy. What is it? So, movement economy. The economic of movement is significant for endurance performances. A runner who is able to run at a given pace with less energy consumption can continue with the same speed for longer duration. A good tactic in endurance sport can serve energy. I hope you understood about the movement economy. Now let's know about the muscle composition. What is it? There are mainly two types of muscle fibers, which I already told you in the another determining factors. Okay, but here again I am going to remind you there are mainly two types of muscle fibers. Number one is slow twitch fiber, fast twitch fibers, and the slow twitch fibers are generally used for aerobic activities or endurance activities. They generate a small level of force for long period of time, and therefore they are better suited for endurance activities. As a matter of fact, the title marathons have been reported to have more than 90% slow twitch fibers in their leg muscles. The proportion of these slow twitch fibers is regulated genetically. Okay, so these muscles compositions, okay, these are the proportion of these slow twitch fibers is regulated genetically. So I hope you understood about the physiological factors determines endurance in an individual. So now let's know about the next the physiological factor determining flexibility. Physiological factors determining flexibility. So the factors are muscle strength, joint structure, age and gender, stretch ability of muscles. Number 5 is internal environment, and number 6 is previous injury. Okay, so these are the factors which determines flexibility of an individual. So now I will explain you these all one by one. So the first is muscles strength. Now let's know what is it. the muscle should be processed a certain minimum level of strength to make the movement possible, particularly against gravity or external force. In sprint sports, you cannot lift the leg or knee to the required height or angle if the related muscles have leg strength. Okay, in fact, weak muscles can become an hindrance for achieving higher range of movement. Muscles strength is trainable and therefore can enhance flexibility of a person. This is about muscle strength. Now let's know the next point, joint structure. What is the use of it in the flexibility? Joint structure. The human body has various types of joints. Some joints intrinsically have a higher range of motion than others. For instance, the ball and socket joint of the shoulder has a higher range of motion in comparison to the knee joint. So we have some of the joints which have higher level of movement ability. So next point is age and gender. Now let's know about it. As a matter of fact, the flexibility goes on decreasing with the advancement of age. Fortunately, human body is trainable. Flexibility can be improved with the help of training as strength and endurance are enhanced. Gender also extends flexibility. Girls tends to be more flexible than boys. Okay, so this is the age factor in the flexibility. Next is number 4 is stretch ability of muscle. Now let's know about it. The stretch ability is also a factor in limited the range of movement of the muscles. For making movement at a joint, the muscle should contract up to perform the movement. If muscles are not regularly stretched, they tend to get stiff and therefore restrict the range of movements possible at a joint. The stretch ability of muscle is trainable to a certain level. Therefore, it can be opened. The stretch ability of muscles determine the flexibility to some extent. Okay, so this is the stretch ability of muscles. Now let's know the next point about the internal environment. What is it? Internal environment to the athlete affects the flexibility. For instance, 10 minutes of warm bath increases body temperature and flexibility, whereas 10 minutes staying outside in 10 degrees Celsius decreases body temperature and flexibility. So in this way the internal environments change. Okay, in the it gives effects in the flexibility. So the next factor is previous injury, how it affects to the flexibility. Now let's know about it. So injury to connective tissue, the muscle and muscle can result thinking of fibrous on the affected part. Fibrous tissue are not so much elastic and can lead to limb shortening and eventually lead to reduced flexibility. So this is all about physiological factor determining flexibility, and I hope you understood about this topic, today's topic. So that's all for today. Thank you. Be happy, be healthy.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.